Hello, my name is Kara Biggs and I'm the Student Support Specialist for Yes Prep. Today we are going to discuss decision making. There are several things that you need during the session today. So our have-outs for today are technology, which is the device that you are working on, a notebook or paper, and a capture tool in order to capture your notes and participate in the activity. So make sure you have these things before you begin the session. There are 3 objectives for today. The first objective is that you will learn the definition of responsible decision making. The next objective is that I will introduce the components of decision making. And then finally, you will practice the steps in decision making. Today's objectives. Objective 1, learn the definition of responsible decision making. So what is responsible decision making? Responsible decision making is the ability to make constructive choices. You should be able to demonstrate an understanding of your thoughts, understand the decision-making process, and finally analyze and evaluate the thinking process. It is important to note that some decisions you will make will be easy. For example, deciding what you will do after school today. And some decisions will be harder. For example, deciding which college choice is right for you or which career path you would like to pursue. With all decisions, it is important to use the decision-making process you will learn about today to help make sure the choice you make is right for you. Today's objectives. Objective 2, introduce the components of decision-making. There are several steps in the decision-making process. The first step is to first identify the decision. So you should state the decision that needs to be made. Ask yourself, why do I need to make this decision? What are you trying to achieve by making this decision? Step 2 in the decision-making process is to gather information. In this step, you need to think about what information you need to help you make a decision. Ask yourself, how will I gather this information? For example, talking to people, reading about a particular topic. Those are ways to gather information about a particular subject. The next step, step 3, is to review options and alternatives. You should ask yourself, what are your different choices? Think about the pros and cons of each decision. Ask yourself another question. What are the results of each choice? For example, when I was trying to decide on my career path, I was trying to decide between being a counselor and a nurse. So I listed out the pros and cons of each decision, which ultimately helped me decide that I wanted to be a counselor. The fourth step in the decision-making process is to actually make your decision. So once you've reviewed all choices, weighed the pros and cons of each, and considered the results of each possible choice, it is now time to make your decision. You should always consider which decision is best based on your goals and your values. It is also helpful to write your decision down to solidify it. Telling other people about your decision and your goals is also a helpful way to hold yourself accountable in seeing your decision through. Although you may think the decision-making process is over, there is still one more thing that should be done. Step 5, or the final step in the decision-making process, is to evaluate your decision. So you could ask yourself, did your decision turn out good or bad? Did your decision help you accomplish your goals? Are the goals that you set for yourself still important to achieve? These are some of the questions you could ask yourself when evaluating your decision. Today's objectives. Objective 3, practice the steps in decision making. It is now processing time, so make sure you have that capture tool and that paper or notebook handy. During processing time, you should follow the steps in the decision-making process for a decision that you need to make. So think hard about a choice that you need to make and use the steps in the decision-making process in order to make that decision. As a reminder, the steps in the decision-making process are to first identify the decision, then you will gather information about your choices, you will review your options and alternatives, you will finally make your decision, and then evaluate your decision. It may be a little difficult to evaluate your decision if you're making the decision today, but you can at least try steps 1 through 4. If you have a hard time thinking about a current decision you need to make, try thinking about a decision that you've made in the past and walk through these steps and see if you would have a different outcome based on the decision-making process. Take the next 5 minutes in order to work through this processing time. Now it's time for reflection. I would like for you to take a few moments to pause and reflect. How do you feel about your decision? Do you feel like you made the right choice for you? Thank you for participating today. I hope you learned a lot about responsible decision making. There are several key points to remember following the closure of this session. First, responsible decision making is the ability to make constructive decisions. Next, there are 5 steps in the decision-making process. 1, identify the decision. 2, gather information. 3, review options and alternatives. 4, make your decision. And 5, evaluate your decision. And remember, some decisions you make will be easy, and they may not require all the steps. Some decisions you make will be more difficult, and they may require completing the steps several times before you make a decision. We have now concluded our session on the decision-making process. Don't forget to complete your exit ticket, and remember, make sure to use the steps of the decision-making process in order to make the most constructive decisions.